Hello, everybody. Um, in keeping with the theme of just looking at scientific articles and the absurdity that could be contained therein, uh, 2 days ago, I searched the term PewDiePie, right? And with that term, I was unable to find anything that was really sensational, but I did find an article that I had some people disagree with me on about demonetization that heavily mentioned PewDiePie. And then someone disagreed with me on whether or not people who are demonetized are being punished. And I made another video about punishment, the definition of which I draw from my schooling in behaviorism within the realm of psychology. Today we have Badger, the artist formerly known as the Red Coat.
Hello.
And we also have Michelle in the chat. Maybe she'll join us.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. She adds a lot of depth to the otherwise ignorant speeches that I make, right?
I'm not going to confirm that one way or another.
Uh-huh.
I just wish I could figure out why. What was it? There was a tab you said that I should be seeing.
Oh, it's all the way to the right.
What, the little duck-looking thing?
Outside of the screen, past the chat, you might see comments, banners, brand, private chat settings.
I can just see private chat and live comments.
Ah.
Hi.
And I am logged in because it's not showing me log in or create account. So.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can all hear you.
Okay, I'm on Wi-Fi because my broadband is down.
I will just briefly to just show you why I don't really want to. I don't know if you can see that.
I'm going to make myself an input because I have a noted error, and I've got to make another one as well. So
yeah.
There you go.
Hello.
So that works, but you're not seeing that.
Back in a couple of minutes.
And
okay.
I can't find a way of putting an icon up, so.
Okay, well, we saw you for a second. We know that you're a live person.
Yes, you know that I'm real.
Yes. And Michelle should go to the bathroom prior to joining the streams.
She should.
Yes.
What's this?
What's what?
No, I'm just exploring these TSRs down at the bottom of my screen.
Okay, so I searched PewDiePie, found a couple interesting articles, and covered the one that spoke the most to me. And even though I'm researching these academic articles, we can still look up some silly terms within them, right?
Okay.
Just for fun, for shits and giggles.
Yeah, of course.
So I decided that I would look up a different famous YouTuber, right, and see how many academic articles actually came up about that person versus PewDiePie, which, if you're writing about YouTube in an academic journal or in a study, apparently you have to name PewDiePie, right?
Okay, so we're talking about journals that make reference to rather than written by.
Yes, just a mention.
Okay.
Yes, so I was just looking at studies that mentioned PewDiePie. He doesn't write any of them. No.
No, he's too busy being a jackass on the internet.
Yes. So there is another YouTuber I know of that has written studies, scientific studies, and I know where to find those scientific studies.
That would be Thunder Bunny.
Yes, Thunder Bunny. So when I did the research on that, let's see.
Hi, Bugsy, by the way.
Hello, Bugsy. I searched his channel name, and count them, two academic journals articles mentioned Thunderfoot.
Okay.
But that
Now,
was
are
I
they
searched that after I searched a different term. Okay.
Okay.
I searched a different term that was Anita Sarkeesian, and a total of 252
Oh, geez.
scientific articles and journals, entries, and studies have been written about topics pertaining to Anita Sarkeesian, such that she was mentioned in the article.
Okay.
Now, these are peer-reviewed articles, right? This is using an EBSCO search, right? So the two articles that Thunderfoot was mentioned in,
Yeah, what are they?
it's actually in conjunction with his relation to Anita Sarkeesian.
Nothing on his actual scientific endeavors.
No, those would be under his actual real human
Oh, right.
name.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So the things that he publishes are under his real name.
Yeah.
But under his YouTube moniker, the only two things that are there relate to Anita Sarkeesian, right?
Makes sense. Given that she's been his chew toy for so long.
Yeah. So I decided to go down this list of academic peer-reviewed articles that contained Anita Sarkeesian in the text and look for some of the best things to pull out. Now, Spurgleberry Farm wants me to look up Sargon of Akkad. I could do that. I haven't prepared anything to say about that, but here we go.
Tomorrow's topic, surely.
Yeah, tomorrow if we get there. So Sargon of Akkad. Let's see. Okay, so Sargon of Akkad, he actually comes up 813 times because it's actually a historical
it's a historical
person.
character. Yeah.
Figuring out which ones are the actual YouTuber versus this historical figure would be a little difficult. I'd have to read all 813 articles it pulled up since. Okay, nothing was found if I just run his name together like it originally was on YouTube. But
quick question: what's the purpose here? What are we doing?
Oh well, my new kick is looking up YouTubers on or just funny things on academic journal listings.
Look me up.
Hi, Jamie. Peace be upon you.
Yeah. If I do the advanced search for Sargon of Akkad and add YouTube, that might be enough of a cross-reference to get rid of all the other Sargon of Akkad things. Let's see. It could be 97 articles about him or mentioning him. Hold on. Let me limit it to just academic articles. And it's down to 10.
Okay.
One of them, the title is Alphas, Betas, and Incels, Theorizing the Masculinities of the Manosphere. That's going to be a great read. And from what I can tell, a couple of these I recognize from the listings that were written that mentioned Sarkeesian, right? So when I look down some of these journals, I haven't gotten past like the first 40 before I found some gems in here. Okay.
Okay.
The first one, it's called Toward a Formal Sociology of Online Harassment. Right. I just saw Michelle's head cocked to the side,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And I wish I could see Brian's head cocking the other way, you know. But 10 times this article mentions Sarkeesian. And what was interesting about this one is this line here, the second mention, says, a unique variant on this kind of attack is the way in which Anita Sarkeesian's harassers en masse have reported as terrorism every YouTube video she uploads. This special reporting mechanism, intended as a response to the posting of grotesque executions by terrorist groups on YouTube, automatically removes a video from being viewed publicly, at least temporarily. Right?
Mm.
I
And I'm
still
like,
don't get why YouTube has not started
Mm-hmm.
punishing people for the punishing accounts for the inappropriate use of those mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they had.
What's the date on this?
This one, November 1st, 2019. Now, when it's not YouTubers, but they're writing about YouTube, they get a lot of stuff wrong. They just
Why are we
do.
reading
Because it's funny that they get stuff wrong, right?
it? But
Mm.
how are we to know what they get right or wrong? I haven't got a freaking clue what YouTube's doing lately.
Yeah. So
At one point, YouTube has some conflicting terms of services.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not actually going to be able to hang around because I'm on my mobile phone. I'm just watching my data go bonkers, and I don't know. I haven't even been. My ISP doesn't open to phone calls for another half an hour yet, or another 20 minutes.
They still
So
restrict your data in the UK. That's
on the
barbarian.
mobile phone, on the mobile phones, yeah, it depends on what plan.
Everyone's mobile phone should have unlimited data.
It depends on what plan you pay for, and I'm a cheapskate.
What you guys need is some capitalism.
Thank you. I think we've had enough of that capitalism malarkey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the promise of capitalism is that the free markets, the competition in the free markets keep prices low. What we've experienced in this country is that, yeah, free market capitalism pushes the prices up to the maximum that they can extort. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's a lie.
Yeah, agreed. I agree with you on that, Brian. Having lived in rip-off Britain for most of my life.
So I also noted that in this journal article that some of the harassment that people are receiving in this article is
Quick one.
over and above
Have a
what.
good conversation, folks. Catch you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Ciao, Michelle. Have a good day.
Some of this is over and above anything I've heard happen to them. This one says that Zoe Quinn had dead animals left in her mailbox. And I hadn't heard about that before.
Me neither.
Brianna Wu found that photographs of her house were put online. I can believe that.
Yeah,
That sounds like her trolls.
That's a common tactic.
Yeah. There was a YouTube video shot by a man who claimed he was driving there to kill her. Sarkeesian faced bomb threats, and I remember that was at the university.
That was at a conference, wasn't it?
She was going to speak at a university, I think.
Yeah.
And I actually remember there was a episode of Law and Order SVU that seemed to be pulled from the headlines that was basically Anita Sarkeesian's story. So she got so famous that even Law and Order spoofed her.
Well, I suppose being able to get up in front of the UN Council and liken online harassment to terrorism would probably do that for a person.
And it also says that in Kansas, some guy named Tyler Barris had a SWAT team sent to his house by some other Call of Duty player.
I remember seeing that. That was actually the video of that was on YouTube. I remember seeing that video. It was actually quite scary.
Okay. So elsewhere listed in this, there is a link to Anita Sarkeesian's website where it actually shows 1 week of her harassment on Twitter in screenshots. This is her.
Okay. How many of those screenshots literally just say "you suck" or words to that effect?
I'm thinking so far, like all of them. All of them.
Yeah, well, "you suck" is not terrorism. Sorry, Anita, but fuck off.
Well, in the waves that it hit her, I would call it harassment. What did she call it? 1 week of harassment.
Well, I'm sorry, but if you go online and you spout a load of bullshit, then you can expect, proportional to the number of views that video gets, you're going to expect a bunch of people saying that's bullshit. And in internetese, a lot of the time is written as "you disingenuous cunt, you should not be on in the internet."
Well, this one goes a little bit far. It's an actual rape threat.
Well,
so
yeah,
that's a little terrorism right there.
Yeah, that I would probably say it actually deserves to be up there, but "fuck you, bitch," no, that's not there. That's not credible. That's just fucking online criticism.
Is it a death threat to say that you deserve all the death threats you're getting? Or is that too meta?
That's too meta.
Okay.
That's just in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure chat disagrees, but I can't see it. It's too small.
Someone saying that they will quick scope her in real life. I would call that a death threat.
Yeah, 360 no scope. Yeah, that I'd say that's threatening.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of these fit the bill for harassment. Anyways, yeah, she said that those just happened in 1 week. And you said that it would be understandable proportionally to the number of video views that she got. She actually didn't get a lot of views on her Tropes versus women in video games.
How many views did she get?
Let's see.
Because I'd say an average kickback of 10% wouldn't be unusual.
See, right now she's only getting like 2,000 views on a podcast, which I say only. She's getting more views than me, right?
All right, so 2,000 views, 10% of that is 200. So if she posts a video and gets 200 fuck off type responses, I'd say that was proportional and to be expected.
Okay, wait. Beck, there was one set of videos that's getting almost 100,000 views, but that's not the ones that we're talking about. We got to go way back. Okay, here's the tropes versus women. Sorry, tropes versus women in video games. The strategic butt coverings video has
funny.
Yeah,
funny that video.
That one has 750,000 views.
Yeah, well, the week that went up, I would expect her Twitter or whatever it is, the comment section, to basically be flooded.
I would say the dates pretty much line up. 4 to 5 years ago with these tropes versus women in video games. Here's 5 years ago, 6. Yeah.
So I'd say if 10% of those views resulted in a "fuck you, you disingenuous bitch" type comments, I'd say that would be well within the scope of expectability.
But expected isn't the same as should be permissible. Yet we expect it because there's a horrible element to humanity that we could just expect to show up.
Yes,
that doesn't excuse.
No, but also given the content, yeah, you would expect a kickback on bullshit.
Okay.
And let's face it, yeah. All right, just taking that, just taking that butt coverings one. You don't even have to be a gamer to be able to see the way that was fucking disingenuously put together.
True. I'll give you that. I mean, how I originally saw the video was a debunking video about that. So,
yeah,
I can't really argue with you there. So the next study that I saw, this one had something very stand out to me because Anita Sarkeesian, mind you, had nothing to do with the study or what was written. Okay, keep that in mind.
Yeah, she's just being referenced.
Yeah. This article is called "The Effects of Sexualized Video Games on Online Sexual Harassment." Right? And just to summarize what this is about, they did a study where they had 211 people, right? And
wow, that is an exceptional sample size.
Yeah, for what they did, I think yes, for this study, it was a good sample size.
Really? Okay.
It could have been better at around the 2,000 people if they could get it that big, but 200, I think the results, the difference in the results won't be that big between 200 and 2,000, given what they actually were looking at.
Well, I don't know. I beg to differ on that because you'd only have to go to a reasonable sized blue hair coffee morning to get that sample size.
Well, for what they were doing, it would be very hard for them to get to the 2,000 people level.
Really? They'd only have to go to a couple of universities.
Yeah, but the amount of time that they'd have to invest into each person doing this would be sizable.
Well, you've got three of
They're-
them there. You've got three of them there. You only need to have one of them hit one university, and there you go. There's a much larger sample size.
Okay, like the availability of people is not what I'm talking about. The availability of time for each of those three researchers to proctor what was going on individually to each subject is what the limiting factor here would be.
Okay, you have to define your use of the word proctor there, because the only thing I can think of is proctologist, and that's not appropriate.
Okay, to proctor as in to monitor the subject while they're doing what they're supposed to be doing to make sure that nothing as far as outside variables is affecting the study.
Okay.
To make sure that they do the tasks that they were instructed to do. So, each of these 211 people were given a slideshow of jokes.
Okay.
These jokes, every other joke, was actually sexist in nature. Right?
I would agree with the caveat that what's considered sexist is a very subjective thing, but okay.
Okay, so when I say that they were sexist, the sexist joke about men was the one that they gave for men is, what do you call a man who has lost his intelligence?
An idiot.
A widower.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So the sexist joke example they give for women is, why is it called PMS? Because mad cow disease was already taken. Right? Okay, so they gave these people a slideshow presentation with every other joke was sexist, and they got to choose which joke they would share with their partner.
Okay.
Right? And so if their partner was of one gender, they would make sure that the sexist jokes pertain to the gender of their partner. Right?
Okay.
So then, prior to sending a joke, choosing a joke to send to their partner so that their partner could enjoy a laugh, they were to play a video game. But there were two versions of the video game. One version, the women in it were scantily clad, and in the other version, they were fully clothed. Now, you don't have to use your imagination to visualize what these two look like, because they actually included screenshots in the study. And this is the high point of my day, was seeing these screenshots and what they considered hypersexualized and not hypersexualized. Are you ready?
Hang on, before we do that,
Uh-huh.
I know we talked the other day about chat being a derailment, but Jamie, peace be upon you, is calling you a coward for the fact that you're not opening this stream up to the general populace. So I just wanted to point out to Jamie that not every stream is a free-for-all.
Yeah, not every stream is going to be open to everyone.
And you
But
are there in chat, so you can respond, you can express.
Here's the funny thing, Brian. The same way that he got into the last stream,
Mm-hmm.
the links would be in the same place if he just retraced his steps.
No, you could use the same link. Okay.
Yeah, I placed the link in the same place that he went and got it last time.
Okay, so there you go, Jamie. If you really want in that badly, you can use that.
Anyways, are you ready?
Yeah.
Drum roll. Okay, here we go. And this is the, let's move the screen right here. This is the hypersexualized version of the video game.
Okay.
Right, so this one has little pasties for a bikini that are square, right? And this one has the Borat bathing suit.
Okay.
The V-shaped bathing suit, right? But pretty much almost naked, bikini-clad fighters in a Street Fighter style game.
Okay.
Right? And the non-sexualized, mind you, Brian, non-sexualized characters are right here.
Okay.
So what struck me as odd with the non-sexualized characters is they still have comic book style, skin tight outfits that show off the female form.
Yeah, I mean, the only difference that I'm seeing between the two is that in the first example, the skin is flesh colored, and in this example, it's what, purpley red color.
Yeah. So that's the difference right there.
Yeah, it's a distinction without a real difference. Except for maybe the shoulder pads.
Yeah. So basically, if you play this version of the video game, you are statistically significantly more likely to send a sexist joke to your partner after playing this version of the game than playing this version of the game.
I'm sorry, I find that very contrived.
Well, imagine you are a researcher and you're coming up with a great study to run, like something that'll be fun and exciting and engage people. What could be better than putting almost naked girls into a video game and having them fight, and then making a study around that?
Okay.
To me, I was like, wow, this is academia right here. This is where it's at.
In that case, I'd say academia has fallen a very long way.
Yeah. Okay. So what I saw also in this version of the video game, the character to the right, her suit reminds me of Batman in some of the video games that Anita Sarkeesian was actually critiquing in her own videos, in her own critiques of culture in video games, right? This style uniform, and this one over here to me kind of reminded me of Phantom Lion without the mask.
Yeah, it all looks like Street Fighter to me.
Yeah. Naked Street Fighter versus Street Fighter.
Yeah, I have to say it's not a game that ever grabbed me, so.
Yeah. And they didn't even program in backgrounds. They just used a room that looks like the holodeck from Star Trek.
Yeah, that hasn't actually been engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your focus is on the bodies and you've got no background distractions whatsoever. So again, I'd say it's very contrived.
Yeah, they're really focusing you on the bodies because there's nothing else to focus on except for the life bar, but there's no backgrounds like there are in other video games. So if you're going to extrapolate the results of this study to Street Fighter, one of the things that you have as a biasing factor is this game has no background graphics to also engage your eyes. You are forced to look at the characters as the only thing that's eye catching.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But then, in order to say take Street Fighter and take all of the different backgrounds that were available in Street Fighter, and then add them to this game to have a really good parallel, you'd have to also increase the number of people playing that are taking this study as subjects, and you'd also have more variables that you'd have to be able to rule out as far as like, well, did the people who were watching the naked girls in this setting have their joke selection affected as much as naked girls in the other setting? You know?
Okay. Well, the way that I'm understanding this, you could probably do a similar study on with glossy magazines as the focus rather than games, and instead of just throwing glossy magazines at your sample group, you're just throwing porn mags at them.
Okay.
So again, contrived. We want to do a study on the hypersexualization of glossy magazines, and we're going to give you porn mags, and from that we're going to extrapolate to Farmers Weekly. It makes as much sense.
In the chat, Umbert Lapagos wants to know if there was a study or if there was a group in the study control who weren't offered to play video games at all. And no, that wasn't the point of the study. The point of the study was if they're playing a video game, is the sexualization of the characters something that leads you to be a worse person in your real life? And worse person is measured by how willing are you to send a sexist joke rather than an unsexist joke.
Yeah, and that, for me personally, is where the whole point just dissolves into meaningless drivel. Well, you're a bad person because you like to play video games where there is a sexualized character. I'm sorry, bullshit.
Well, here's where I disagree with you, Brian. So this study in particular was published in the Journal of Aggressive Behavior.
Really?
Right here. Yeah, the Wiley Journal of Aggressive Behavior. This is a research article. This is a study. And in order to get into these journals, the authors pick the most tantalizing subject that they can think of that can be studied that interests them. But they intentionally try to make it sensationalized so it will get into these journals for publication. This article beat out a bunch of other articles that could be in its place.
And you know why?
Why?
For the same reason that the motor industry still employs scantily clad women to pose on their cars when they're at car shows.
I suppose they didn't lead with the sexualized images in their study, but just having this much in their study, I can imagine this would encourage the publication of their study, just having the sample of what they did in their study, such that the reader of the study's eyes could see this.
Yeah.
Just like the cover of Lowrider magazine.
Yeah.
I think you're on something, Brian.
Humbert makes a reasonable makes a reasonable point, or alludes to one. Oh, hang on, it's just scrolled off screen. Hang on, let me just get it back. He's wondering if any group played better than the other. In other words, was the gameplay better in the sexualized or non-sexualized version of the game? I think that's what he means.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, please correct me, Humbert.
So there's table 1 of their study here. They tested between the sexualized and the non-sexualized condition for the video game experience for how the users rated different aspects of the game. So between frustration or excitation in the game, there was a difference. The competition, the realism, the violence, whether or not you thought it was all these things. Yes, the difference between the skin version versus the suit version was not that much as far as how people rated it.
Okay, the excitation factor, does that include Woody, the Woody factor?
Could. Yeah, it could. And if that's how you define how excited you are, did it give me a stiffy?
Well, I mean, if you think about the actual topic, yeah, the sexualization of women in games.
Yes.
The Woody factor has to be appropriate metric to look at, surely.
I want to do some of this math here to check their math. This is weird. I'm actually checking the math within a study, and it's very easy math, so there's no reason for me to check it. But if I do the math, then I think I'll have a better understanding of their numbers here. So yes, this is the okay. If you were playing the game without the suits, if you're playing the one with skins, you were about 4% more likely to be excited.
So there's only a 4% Woody factor. Well, that's not a particularly sexual game in that case.
Well, see, that could be that they don't rate their excitation in terms of their Woody, right? Excitation is their own variable here. But the realism right here, this one right here is the one variable that looks, because the numbers are so low, but the difference is greater than excitation. This one has a different score to it. Let's see, 1.98 divided by 2.25. So you are about 12% less likely to say this game was realistic for the naked girls versus the ones in suits. The bikini fighters, people felt 12% less realism about them fighting versus girls fighting in combat suits.
Well, that's a load of bullshit for a start. Because when it comes to realism, yeah, to put it in a real context, all right, the appropriate correlation would be girls fighting in Jello versus girls having a scrap with each other outside the club in an alleyway. So it's not a particularly good comparison when you consider the realistic reasons for both. Girls fighting in Jello are doing so because they want to, and girls scrapping outside a club in an alleyway is because they're pissed, they've lost their rationale, and they're probably fighting over some perceived slight. Jamie is asking you to post the link to StreamYard on Discord. Jamie, honestly, mate, if you can't find it, then you need to look harder. Yeah, but I remind you that not every stream is a free-for-all.
In fact, this one's pretty much over. Tomorrow we'll be on for part 2, but this one I feel like we've pretty much covered the subject a little bit more than these scantily clad street fighters. But Jamie, I don't know what to tell you except for, here's my Discord and there's the link to the StreamYard you missed.
I'm sorry you're finding this subject boring, Poseidon. Maybe you'll have better luck tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, maybe because he's wanting to talk about Joe Biden.
Yeah, Joe Biden.
Maybe I could do a search for academic articles on Joe Biden.
There we go.
After we've exhausted this subject. I think this one might last a couple of days, and then I'll lose my interest in this one, along with PewDiePie search results. And then maybe we can move to Joe Biden. It'll be timely, more timely than looking at the past dramas of YouTube, at least. I get kind of politicked out and corona'd out lately.
Oh,
I don't want to talk about politics or coronavirus sometimes. And so I decide, you know what, I'll put on a show for everyone that isn't that, because you're getting too much of that right now, in my opinion. I'm getting too much, you're getting too much, you're getting too much. Let's talk about bikini street fighters.
Yeah, I'd sooner just get on the radio and play music, to be honest.
We might have to look up interesting things about radio disc jockeys as well.
Yeah.
There's got to be something about the contests that disc jockeys run.
How do you mean?
A while back, there was that controversial one called Don't Wee for a Wee, where a girl died because she drank so much water that her belly distended and made her look pregnant. And then she went home and got water on the brain and died.
Oh, shit.
Because she was trying to win a Nintendo Wii for her kids for Christmas.
Oh, jeez.
The contests that they have on the radio can be horrible.
Really?
I bet some radio station bought a whole bunch of rolls of toilet paper and we're doing a contest on air and the winner would receive a pack of toilet paper.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I swear to you, Scout's honor, I have not heard about this before. That was just off the top of my head because I have a couple of rolls of toilet paper stockpiled in my room right there, and I was just drawing on something in my room for inspiration. But it's likely happened that a radio disc jockey has given away toilet paper via contest.
Yeah, possibly. All I can tell you is that most of ours are trivia based, and the most you're likely to get is a T-shirt or a badge.
Well, I don't think that they had any complaints from the winners.
No, probably not.
And Bugsy thinks that they probably gave away hand sanitizer too.
Yeah, I just saw that.
So thank you, Bugsy. Thanks everybody for showing up. Thank you, Brian, for helping me to run this show. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
And hopefully tomorrow we can get a little bit more of this subject burned out of our system before we move on to the next.
And I'll try and figure out this bleeding avatar situation so you haven't got a black screen.
Much appreciated. See you later, guys.
Stay safe.